eternal. Fev gets the goal.
He's that type of player. He can take an opportunity from a half chance. Great goal, well manufactured. He'll be feeling good about himself.
Well, he's one of the most talked about players in the competition, and his coach, Brett Rattenn, joins us in the studio. Welcome to you, Brett.
Gerard, how are you, mate?
Pretty well. How do you handle Brendan?
I suppose I played with Brendan as a young fella, and our relationship's pretty open. We have a few chats, and I think he's one of those players that plays on instinct, and he's an extrovert, so we sort of let him, I suppose, play out of the goal square. This week we got him in the forward 50, and it paid huge dividends.
Were you trying to make a point to him when you had him out of the goal square?
I think our team generally, we played against Fremantle and we didn't get any roll down or support for our midfield and our defenders, so I think we took it to the extreme, and we probably paid the biggest price of all time, kicking with a 3-goal breeze. We couldn't get it past halfway.
Brett, 31-27 for Fev this year.
Yep.
Even when Fev mightn't be mentally tuned in, his kicking's always, most of us have always said, well, he's a great kick. Is there a problem? Can you see a problem in his technique this year, or is he kicking from a different angle, or what?
No, not really. I think it's probably, I think players with form through their careers go up and down a little bit with certain aspects of their game. Sometimes it's your touch with marking, ground balls. He's just got at the moment, the ledger's in his favour, which is great. But yeah, he's probably...
You'd want it more than 52% though.
We probably would, yeah. We'd probably like to be winning more than 5 games out of 10. So, but at the moment, it was great for him to get 6 on the weekend, and I thought he was extremely important for us.
But how far away as a team are you from being, are you 2 years, 3 years away from your best with the development of your players, or do you think it's a year away? Have you sort of identified when you think you'll hit your straps at the peak level?
We sort of have a look at, I suppose, how many kids you play. We still need to develop our kids in the team, and I think we, maybe against Adelaide the balance wasn't quite right there. I think we had 7 kids from 15 games and under, maybe going to Adelaide over there that are a very good team, hard to play, zone up. I thought we got the balance a little bit wrong. And
would you sacrifice wins this year to develop in 2 years' time, or is it more about you have to make the finals this year? Where is the goal for Carlton Footy Club?
Well, our ambition as a football club is to play finals, and we haven't played for 7 years, so it's really important for us to give ourselves the opportunity to play finals. But at the end of the day, we've still got to get games into Cruiser. Chris Sheahan's had a taste now, which is great. Garlett showed that he can play at the level. So to keep developing, that's the balancing act. Maybe we've probably learned a lesson interstate. We might go for a more experienced team.
Brett, you knew there'd be 2 certain topics tonight. Fev would be one, and we've disposed of that. The other one was the slogan. They know we're coming. Did that have the coach's approval?
I think as a football club, from a marketing ploy, we sort of went out on a limb, and you try and create excitement as a team and as a club, and we did that. Are we ready to maybe challenge? Maybe not, but I think it's a statement out there as a club.
Were you comfortable with it?
Well, everyone knows you're coming. We play an opposition each week, and they're coming at us. And
I take that as a no.
Were you involved in it? I heard David Parker on the weekend say that he argued strongly against that slogan because he didn't think you could put an expectation on a club if it wasn't in a position to deliver.
I think it's probably where our list sits and our team. I think it's that's an expectation that I suppose everyone's put on us, and even at the club, internally, we want to make sure that we raise the bar. We had 10 wins last year, and what do we say? Well, let's get 11 wins or 10 and a half and a better percentage. No, let's raise the bar. We want to try and play finals football. We want to give ourselves the opportunity, but we've sort of learned a lesson over the last few weeks. Let's get it week by week, and that's the process that we need to take on board.
You lost one of your star players, or your best players, a couple of weeks ago with a knee injury, and Gerard wrote an interesting article, a very interesting article on whether how knees should be approached and whether the grass should come in. Did that? How does that affect your view on the operation that Waite's had? What about that?
Yeah, I sort of read Gerard's article. I thought it was a very good article. I suppose where Gerard, our specialists and our doctors have sort of consulted Julian Feller, which I think you've had a fair bit to do with as well. And he sort of advised us that this procedure, the conventional way, was the way to go, not the graft. And maybe with some of the stories that we've heard and the evidence there, we weren't sort of 100%, so we sort of went with his advice.
What's the problem with the graft? I mean, what do the doctors say? Why do they say it won't work or it shouldn't be done?
I suppose the fact is, I suppose it's, you know, even Gerard explained that it's more of an overseas method. I think Melcheski's had it done, something very, you know, similar along the graft. We've sort of gone down the conventional way because we sort of, I suppose, of what we've seen in front, what, you know, the devil that you know sort of thing, and knowing that Gerard won't get back this year, we sort of thought it would be better to go that path.
Just one final one. Why wouldn't you get a second opinion from proponents of the LARS system?
Well, we've got Justin Cordy and Ben Barassi, you know, who have researched everything. Mark Homewood has, he's sort of on the cutting edge of everything that we do around the football club from a rehab point of view, and they searched high and low, and the evidence that they got was they backed in the conventional method for Gerard in this situation, so we went down that path.
Brett, do you enjoy coaching more Monday to Friday or game day?
Depends what week it is. I think a winning week, every day is good, and a losing week, it's a little bit more stressful. But
in principle, just is it the planning of it, or is it the cut and thrust of match day?
I suppose it's 50-50 because sometimes it's great to reflect on after a win or a game to say these were the things that we put in place and we actually achieved them as a team. So I'd say it's 50-50. Put the plans in place and then see if you can achieve them on Saturdays.
And you've got some big names sitting around you. Craig Bradley, who I know you're a big admirer of, Robert Harvey, Brett Montgomery,
Mark Riley,
Matty
Lappin.
Yeah, when you need to talk to someone, when you want to bounce something, who do you turn to? Is there one you turn to more than anyone else?
Oh, I think as a match committee I speak to more. I think I'll probably use Bomber's experiences of being involved in the competition for such a great time. He's been at Fremantle under Neesham, you know, Drum, Neil Danaher, coach in his own right. You know, he's very experienced. You know, I use Battles a bit. I think, especially too with his influences, that he doesn't get caught up in the bubble, you could say, because, you know, we're there full time, he comes in part time, and he can actually see it from a different angle. And sometimes we can sort of rub off each other our own opinions and maybe persuade someone and things like that, where he just comes in and says, this is how I see it, and you take it on board.
Is Wolsey an unofficial member of the match committee? Because I reckon he gave a couple of your boys a nice old clip. Now, did you know this article was coming, and if so, how much did you pay him?
Probably about the same as James paid Matty Knights in the time before we played them. But I suppose that's the nature of it, I think.
Do you refer to it?
No, we didn't refer to it.
Probably didn't have to.
We didn't. I think there's some articles that you do refer to as a coaching group and maybe put it on the players when you see it the day before and that. You know, I think it might have been a shot in the arm for some of our boys to think, you know, Juddy had to take the grandstand with him every time he played, and I thought it was, you know, he wrote his opinion, and fair enough, he's entitled to it.
Just on Chris Judd, I mean, he's pretty private. We don't hear or see a lot of him outside of what we see on the football field. As a captain, is he instructional captain? Does he teach a lot of guys how to play, or does he go out of his way to sort of take guys under his wing? What does he do that's exceptional around the club?
Probably the role model side of things. He on and off field, he sort of, you know, follow me, I'll lead, and also from, you know, his behaviour off field with his diet and everything that he does. You know, Chris would do about 15 hours a week personal development, whether that's the trampoline or yoga or whatever it is. He does 15 hours, so he puts that on himself as well. Probably in the 12 months, you know, from last year to this year, I think he's become a better instructional leader, and he's really growing with that.
How many Brownlow votes would he have, Brett?
Well, I gave him my best on the weekend, so whether the umpire's seen that, that's probably up to them.
I want to ask you about Satanda O'Halpin, big storm pre-season.
Yep.
Disappeared, and he's now back in your team. I think in retrospect you handled it really well. I mean, we were all trying to get an interview with Satanda, and it's gone on, and he's come back and he's playing some good footy. Was there any lingering or any lasting ill effects from that clash between O'Halpin and Cameron Clough?
No, not at all. Satanda realised that he did the wrong thing from that point of view, so he's moved on. He gets his 50th game this week, which I think is a great achievement for a bloke who's come from another code and or another country to do what he's done.
And I've got to ask this one, Gerard. I know it's over, but Jordan Russell. Now, the coach loves him, and not all the Carlton supporters are quite as enamoured of Jordan Russell as you are. Do you get mail about him?
I don't read the mail. I leave that to someone else. Sometimes it's flattering and sometimes it's very insulting. So, yeah, I think Jordan's in his development, I think he gets hardly criticised. I think last year he wasn't recognised for. I think he was fourth in tackles for our club with 85 for the year. So his defensive side of the game is really important for us. So maybe that's not seen as much.
You play the Brisbane Lions in round 2 and you've got them again this week. It's a pivotal match.
It's not an 8-point game because I've said that for the last 3 weeks.
They're all 8-point games this year.
Yeah, it is. It's a really important game for us, and to travel, we haven't travelled that well, so we need to make sure that we start really well because maybe we can get an advantage right from the start.
Appreciate your time tonight, Brett, and we look forward to having a look at you over the next 3 months and seeing whether you're coming or whether the Fab Five really stack up. Good on you. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, fellas.
Thanks, friends.
Brett Rattenn, coach of the Blues. More to come after this. We're going to take a look at the form of a very talented big man and Liam Pickering. We're going to show you what a muddy ground really is.